Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It is Mucking Fonday. Did you have a good weekend? Well, you better have, especially if you watched Friday's episode. That's the whole point, is that you watch Friday, you have a good weekend, then you come back and you get reminded about that you live in a world again. Maybe I'm the only one who disconnects from reality during the weekends. I don't know. This is Before Coffee.
I watch sports.
Yeah, exactly.
I watch sports. I watch golf. Golf is the best escape because it's all in nature and the birds are singing.
Yeah, and then people
every once in a while you just hear. Yeah, and the crowds are like, yeah, that was a nice shot. That was a nice 6 on a par 4. Way to go, idiot. Way to screw it up. Good. Yeah, nobody's even mad. Nobody's even mad. Unless you hit a masterful shot and then they all lose their minds. And anyway, so...
Good morning, Johnny. I hope you're having a good Monday, even though probably for you, your Monday just started. I don't know. But yes, this is Before Coffee, the father and daughter comprehensive news of Planet Earth podcast, where we look up our stories 10 to 15 minutes before we get started. We are learning to read live on stream. Got a little caffeine in our bodies, so we're a bit hyperactive. So let's get into our headlines. Today on Mucking Fonday, Mertz specifies reasons for armament decision with Israel, and Zelensky insists Russia is prolonging the war. Territorial concessions will not convince it to stop the fighting.
And good day, happy Mucking Fonday from America, where Australia's had enough, mate. Australia is recognizing Palestine.
Scotland Chinook crash victim would want answers, says sister. This is a 30-year-old's crash, and they still haven't got an answer.
In Houston, we have a problem. Jim Lovell has passed away at 97, Apollo 13's famous astronaut.
Drag Race France All-Stars. How the franchise attempts to reconcile entertainment and politics in My Culture News.
And it's National Play in the Sand Day. So I guess go play in the sand. I don't got much for that. It is August 11th, 2025. I'm Before Coffee.
I was going to say for the sand thing, get sand everywhere. That's the best thing about sand. It gets everywhere.
Sand running through an hourglass is a metaphor for the disappearing of youth.
Do your best,
which we're all familiar with.
Anakin Skywalker. I ate sand. It's coarse and it gets everywhere. Okay.
And that's the best I can do. I can do Walter Matthau saying that, but other than that, there's sand everywhere. There's just sand. You can't go anywhere without sand. Anyway.
If there are any Walter Matthau fans out there, we've got you.
That was actually closer to Sean Connery. That was Sean. Sand. You want sand? I got sand. There's your Sean Connery.
Sand. James Sand. Hello, Vanka. Congratulations on claiming the first and getting 3 medals for my special medal competition, whatever I want to call it. And good morning. Let's roll our segue for our first segue for my 2 stories.
I like to play in the sand. I like to play in the sand and eat people's children. Very
you got that one too. Okay. Well, a great place for impressions is a non sequitur, which is your deal here.
What?
So
non sequitur. Okay.
Let's get into my first stories. This first story is coming out of Germany. It's about Chancellor Mertz, who is explaining in more detail his decision to stop supplying certain military equipment to Israel because of the Gaza war. According to media reports, Mertz detailed his reasons in a paper to the Christian Democrat Party of the Executive Board. The decision is causing controversy within his party and also the PSU, which I think is also a Christian party parliamentary group. All the German Christians are like, how dare you not want to kill people with weapons? Wait a minute.
Yeah, what's wrong with you? Don't you like seeing limbless children? What's wrong with you?
That's right. There's a website called Deutschland Funk, and if you want to get I don't know who this article's written by.
Those kids had too many limbs.
It just says this article is written by Defense Fund. The document states that Israel has already stopped receiving weapons or ammunition used in the Gaza Strip. His latest decision is also based on the current circumstances prevailing there. Furthermore, the Chancellor points out that there are areas of use that this wording does not cover. This applies, for example, to military equipment for air and naval defense, which are essential to Israel's self-defense. CSU foreign policy expert Meyer describes Mertz's decision as wrong. Ooh, that's strong. Emotionally, the Chancellor's concern was understandable, Meyer said on Deutschlandfunk. However, one should not reverse the roles of perpetrator and victim. Oh my god, this again, right?
Yeah.
These people who have been settler colonizing the Gaza Strip since the 70s, right? They're the victims of this one thing, and this equates to genocide.
The people that were already there.
One terrorist attack
the people that were
determines
you
need to kill all children in the Gaza Strip until the end of time. Okay, the terrorist. This is his quote. This is his opinion. The terrorist organization Hamas is primarily responsible for the war in the Middle East. You mean in the Gaza Strip, right? Not the entire Middle East. The partial halt to arms deliveries will prevent any more Israeli hostages from being freed, or no fewer children in Gaza Strip will suffer from hunger, Mayor emphasized. So are there even hostages at this point? I don't believe it. I think there aren't none anymore, and they just keep on saying, you still have hostages. Yeah, you took my dog hostage. And I'm sorry, we ate your dog months ago because we were starving to death. I'm sorry.
Well, you never cared about the hostages to begin with. You just started bombing shit.
Yeah, they killed tons of hostages themselves. Yeah, I would think it's very ironic if they're like, oh yeah, well, Thomas Mueller never got saved. It's like, you bombed him on like the first week. He died. Oh yeah, well, that's not our fault. They were using him as a shield. He was just hanging out. Drinking tea, and you bombed him, and you killed one of your hostages.
It happened, just like George Bush let 9/11 happen. He needed an excuse to go to war.
Exactly. That's our. Thank you for lurking, Vanka. You didn't do the command right, but thank you for lurking. Anyways, let's continue reading. The parliamentary director of the CDU-CSU parliamentary group, Bilger, however, advocated accepting the decision. This is why we're having infighting, right? One person agrees, one person disagrees, one person says it's wrong. It's a wrong decision. The CDU politician told RTL NTV that the party is in coalition with SPD, and the coalition partner has long been demanding that Israel be made more clear about what it finds wrong with the war in Gaza. The genocide, maybe? Just an idea. Chancellor Mertz announced on Friday, what was Friday? What day was Friday? The 8th of August. What was I reading? Yes, okay. The 8th of August that he would restrict armed deliveries to Israel. Several politicians criticized the decision and spoke of a change of course in Germany's Israel policy. Mertz rejected these accusations. No, we're still supporting Israel as a country because we're Germany and we have to do that, otherwise people will think we're Nazis again. Unfortunately, because we're very simplistic here in the global politics, the principles remain unchanged, and Germany continues to stand firmly by Israel, the Chancellor said on ARD television. However, Mertz explained that Germany could not continue supplying weapons for a conflict that would be resolved exclusively by military means. Yeah, you guys better start talking about not doing a genocide, and then we're not involving ourselves in killing civilians. He pointed out that there were reservations within the Israeli army, too, about the expansion of the Gaza war decided by Israel's security cabinet. Reminder that, right, there's very, very many different layers onto what decides a conflict, and it sounds like some people people who are putting the boots on the ground are like, why are we doing this? Whereas the people who are sitting cozyly in the air-conditioned houses are going, keep the war going! We're making lots of money! Yeah, but I mean, why are we shooting people anymore? What's the point of this? We're just gonna continually bomb and shoot and attack people, and it's not getting us anywhere. Oh, we're not doing this to get anywhere. We're doing this to make money. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Netanyahu said
so they can open it Riviera.
Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu declared in Jerusalem that Mertz was a good friend of Israel who had caved in. Oh, he's caved in under pressure of false television reports. No children are being killed and they're not being starved. They're all fine. Yeah. Look, I have one here right now. He had
all them children just fell down the stairs, man.
Yeah.
They all just fell down the stairs. That's how their legs blew off.
Yeah, okay. He added that many European heads of state and government had also told him that he was right. Okay. It's like being in high school again. Netanyahu offered no evidence to any of his claims. He just said, well, Hungary agrees with me. Well, it's a great thing Hungary's on your side, Netanyahu, because we all know that Orban is making great decisions when it comes to global politics, and he's not completely going against everything that the EU stands for. Yeah. Exactly, Demigorge. There was a Hamas guy under that child. We had to shoot both of them. Also, good morning, Omlin and Demigorge. Thank you guys for checking in. Give me a non sequitur.
Good morning.
I don't know. I feel like we've been non sequitizing all over here.
Well, my non sequitur is about the United States. And you already brought up the thing I was going to bring up, which was like how ironic that Germany has to debate Israel, which, the only reason Israel exists, Germany.
Yep.
That's
what I'm saying. They have to accept Israel's existence and support them because they're the reason they exist.
That's what I'm saying. It's like it's like America's not accepting Indian reservations. Something. We torque their fucking land and we throw them in frickin', godforsaken shit. Kind of similar to what Germany did years later. What we did to the American Union.
Why are they segregated? You put them there. Oh yeah, that was us. Okay, my next story.
Only 32. Hold on, my actual non sequitur, since you stole it. I guess was United States about 30% approval for selling arms to Israel on a good day. So any politician who wants to win a nomination in either party, by the way, especially Democrats because they want to take back the House and the Senate, hey. I'm going to run on stop selling weapons to Israel. Boom! People will show up we're tired of this crap. Why are we supporting this?
What a lot of leftists, I'm not saying liberals, but leftists, people who are, more left than probably me, a lot of them are saying the only reason Kamala Harris didn't win is because she didn't want to stop the freaking war in Gaza. She didn't want to do anything. And that's why they didn't vote for her. Sadly, that is why a lot of leftists did not vote for her.
Yeah. And a lot of ignorant people let the guy who was worse win. Hey, I'm smart. Yeah. But that, again, she was in a bad spot. She didn't put herself in that spot, by the way. Every stupid administration before her put us in that spot that we got to defend Israel no matter what. Think of it. I didn't know you didn't ask for a metaphor. But you think you got a best friend who moves into a neighborhood and just starts hating it. Sure his neighbors hate him.
Yeah.
But then he gets just all the guns in the world and starts shooting at all of his neighbors. And you're asked to defend him constantly, supplying him with ammunition.
He's my friend, yeah.
Oh, let's keep doing that for no good reason. This guy does not want peace. Netanyahu does not want peace. He wants elimination. That's what he wants.
He wants to own the entire Middle East, probably. He just wants to run the whole thing and then make all that oil money or something. And then burn the planet, and then we'll all be dead anyways.
And if the Germans who owe you big time, owe you, right, are sitting around going, you know what? Here's the deal. Israel. Maybe your leadership's a little bit like Hitler. Just a tiny bit. We can't make that suggestion because we're Germany, but the tiny little bit about,
Fascism is not, fascism is not a government, like a cultural thing. It can happen anywhere, right? Germans are just as likely to be fascist as everyone else. Okay, let's go to my next story, which is about the other war that we've been talking about for way too long, that has not ended.
Ask Tony Blair how it was to go wrong with George Bush. That's how his political future went. I'm sorry.
This is on Hot News, Romania. Zelensky is insisting no concessions will happen because Russia will continue attacking everybody, even if you give them what they want. Crimea, like I've said, Crimea is a great example of, hey, we gave you Crimea. Okay, we're still invading you, though. Oh, okay. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said today, on the 11th of August, that any concessions to Russia would not convince it to stop fighting in Ukraine, and and stressed that it was necessary to intensify pressure on Moscow, not to be rewarded, Reuters reports. In a message posted on his Twitter account, the Ukrainian president said that in the last 24 hours alone, 137 armed clashes had taken place on the front. As in battles, 137 battles in one day. The Russian army does not reduce the pressure. It does not even count its losses. Ukrainian warriors take active measures, defend their positions, and in every zone of hostilities, even the most difficult ones, results that the Ukraine needs to be achieved. We are holding our positions and doing everything possible to destroy or expel the occupier, Zelensky wrote on Twitter. Russia is prolonging the war, and therefore deserves stronger global pressure. Russia refuses to stop the killings, and therefore should not receive any rewards or benefits. And this is not just a moral position, it is a rational one. Concessions do not convince a murderer, but a truly strong protection of life stops murderers, Zelensky also said. This is common sense, people. Of course, convicted felon Trump has announced that he will meet with his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin. They're not related at all, because yet again, Putin is a dictator who does not have real elections. At least technically, Trump was elected by an election.
No, not really. Yeah.
Technically, happened.
Trump's trying to rig it.
Whatever Putin runs, not even the same thing, not on the same level. On August 15th in Alaska is when they're meeting to negotiate an end to the war for the 15th millionth time, in which he's going to ask full surrender for Ukraine, and they give us all the land, and they sell us stuff, reparations, and what? Nobody would agree with that deal. Nobody in the history of the world would ever agree with that deal. And then Ukraine has to pay us for us invading them. Wait a minute, what? It's very complicated.
If Trump's negotiating for your side, you've already lost.
It's very complicated. We're going to get some things back. We're going to trade some things. There's going to be some land swaps to benefit both sides, Trump said. That's not going to happen. Ukraine will never agree to a land swap. Ever. Information circulated in the press. Give me one more sentence and you can go off, okay? Information circulated in the press that Putin claimed complete Russia control over the Donetsk and Lugansk region of eastern Ukraine, occupied by Russian forces. Yes, the place they've occupied, they want to own. That's how that works. Annexation. There you go. That's the word. That's what annexation is. You go there, you say, we own this now, and are you going to stop us?
Ukraine,
no. Okay, thanks. This is ours now. No. But that's old-timey annexation. Unfortunately, we live in a global world now where a lot of people are, I hope, a lot of people aren't just going to let Russia get away with it. And we already let this shit happen in Crimea. I'll keep on saying this, right? That's what happened in Crimea. They invaded Crimea, they blew up the bridge, and they said, the Crimea is ours now. And Ukraine said, oh shit. Nobody supported them. As far as I remember back in Ukraine, everyone said, oh no, I can't believe this happened. Well, I guess just let them have it then. Non sequitur, please, or whatever you want to rant about.
Non sequitur. Well, I forgot. Because this thing started falling on my head.
I don't mean people doing anything about it, Vonka. I mean governments, right? Governments need to do more. Realistically, right, if you want to go very dramatic, you know, Europe actually makes a united army and then pushes Russia out. Like NATO. Like NATO pushed, you know, did the stuff with Kosovo. You know, they go in, they say, get the fuck out of here, stop doing illegal shit. Like, it's an illegal war. They invaded by surprise, didn't tell anybody they were going to do it. You know. Yeah,
they telegraphed this invasion for 10 years, then did it. I mean, hey, let's have Crimea in 2014.
Yeah, 14.
Right? Let's have that. Probably before that, they were going to take it because they needed that shipping lane or whatever the hell. Economic, because Russia has no economy, by the way. They produce nothing that the world needs except weapons.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Russia,
oil. They don't produce anything. Oil's not production. Oil's a raw material. So.
Yeah.
And gas, of course.
Because you have to buy the oil and then you have to make it into petroleum somewhere, and that's not what Russia's doing. Russia's not making the petroleum.
Ukraine should refuse all mediation by the United States. The United States is not interested. They're not in Ukraine's best interest at all. They need mediation from an honest broker, not a criminal, a convicted 34-time felon. Please, not have that guy involved in anything involved with peace talks, please. Thank you.
Failed businessmen should not be making any deals with anybody. Because you already know they can't
that
make
guy
deals.
should not be... Trump should not be in charge of what wine to serve with dinner. That's how incompetent it is.
Realistically, he wants to pull out from supporting Ukraine, right? That's what he wants to do, or he's already doing it, whatever.
Of course, he's in works for Russia.
If he wants Europe to deal with it, then he should shut the fuck up, not talk to Putin. It's none of his fucking business, and let Europe talk to Putin. That's what should be happening.
I talked to this guy I knew from the government back in 2016. He said Trump works for Russia. They're blackmailing him. That was 9 years ago, and I've known it ever since. So, I mean, I've just been saying it ever since. He's being blackmailed by Russia. Either he wants to build a casino or a hotel, or they got some dirt on him. And it's probably all three.
He wants to build a golf course in Siberia.
Right. Who would behave this way except somebody's being blackmailed? Think about it. And of course, Epstein tapes fits right into this. If there's anybody in this world that knows that Trump's all over the Epstein file, it's Vladimir Putin.
He probably
He's going to spy
the
everywhere. You think he don't have spies in the FBI? You think he don't have spies in the Pentagon? Think again. This is what they do. He's a KGB guy. All right, next story. Did you do a spin wheel?
Let me roll the segue wheel. I just wanted you to finish your points.
Okay, I'm going to take my glasses off.
Also, everyone, let us know what you think about the new camera angle from Roger. He changed it up, the lighting. Let us know if it looks good. If you like it more, or you want him to go back to the other. He's probably not going to go back to the other one, no matter your opinion.
Like it or don't like it, I'll probably change the background.
You could probably maybe add a green screen.
If you're looking at the background. Yeah, if you're looking at me for the background.
Okay, so the next segue is tell a joke. So give me a story to tell a joke about.
All right, mate. We go down to, this is from abcnet.au, an Australian website. This is Albanese announces Palestine recognition, saying the war in Gaza has gone too far. It's from Jake Evans. Australia will move to recognize the state of Palestine at the United Nations General Assembly next month, with the condition that terror group Hamas play no role in its future governance. There you go. You've got our word. I don't know how you prove that, but hey, just do it. Put conditions on it. Yeah, we'll do that. I'm just saying, how are you going to do that? How are you going to guarantee that they're following through on that?
The only other thing I can think is that can you stop leaning over, by the way? Because you're putting the doomsday counter over your face.
Okay.
But I think the only thing I can think they could do is Australia puts their own government there, or some sort of united government to look over Gaza, and if something stupid like that.
It's like when Hezbollah won the elections for the Palestine liberation. When Yasser Arafat was still alive, and Israel said that's not good enough. We don't trust your election. And it's like, what the fuck you want us to do? We hold elections. We pick a leader. You don't like the leader we pick. I like. Does everybody else get to do that?
Yeah,
come on, man. Prime Minister.
I wish.
Yeah. Oh, they voted for Hezbollah. I keep coming back to this, but all the Israeli first leaders were all classified as terrorists when they first formed a nation.
Very convenient.
Classified as terrorists,
very convenient.
Menachem Begin was a terrorist. So was a lot of these people. They were classified as terrorists. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said Australia would work with the international community to make recognition a reality. Australia will recognize the state of Palestine. Australia will recognize the right of Palestinian people to a state of their own, predicated on the commitments Australia has received on the Palestinian Authority, Mr. Albanese said. A two-state solution is humanity's best hope to break the cycle of violence in the Middle East and to bring an end to the conflict, suffering, and starvation in Gaza. Yeah, starving people. That's what God would want, right? The Palestinian Authority has promised, again, I guess that's what's in the Bible, too. A lot of violence, I am not an expert on the Bible, but I understand there's a lot of violence and weird shit in it. Palestinian Authority has promised Australia would recognize Israel's right to demilitarize and hold general elections, among other commitments. There you go. The Mr. Albanese said every generation had known failures and false dawns in the decades of decades of failure to internationally recognize the state of Israel and of Palestine, but he said the world could not wait for success to be guaranteed. The risk of trying is nothing compared to the danger of letting this moment pass by. The toll of status quo is growing by the day, and it could be measured in innocent lives. Yes, it is. Foreign Minister Penny Wong said it had been more than 77 years since the world promised a Palestinian state. In the nearly 2 years since October 7th terror attack by Hamas, we have been working with the international community on breaking the cycle of violence. We can't keep waiting for the end of peace process that has ground to a halt. The Prime Minister said he had spoken with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in a long and civil discussion. The arguments he put to me were very similar to the arguments he put more than a year ago. It seems to me very clearly we need a political solution, not a military one. I said it publicly, and I said it directly to Prime Minister Netanyahu. The situation in Gaza has gone beyond the worst fears. Far too many innocent lives have been lost, and the Israeli government continues to defy international law and deny sufficient aid, food, and water to desperate people, including children. This vital aid must be allowed to get to the people who need it most. This is much more than a drawing line on a map. Israel, however, claims the decision elevates Hamas. It's kind of weird how they just think everybody's a terrorist except them. Seriously. Ahead of the decision, Mr. Netanyahu told journalists that Australia and the other nations were delusional for thinking Palestine recognition would bring peace. Of course you're delusional, because Netanyahu is still in power. He doesn't want peace. He wants conquest. He wants to look, I'm the hero of all. That's what he wants to be. He thinks he's frickin' Caesar. To have European countries and Australia march into that rabbit hole just like that. Fall right into it. I think it's actually shameful, but it's not going to change our position. Mr. Netanyahu said, as stubborn asshole he is. Oh, some hostages got taken. We must kill everyone in sight. Israel's ambassador to Australia, Amir Mamoun, said Albany's decision would not change the reality on the ground. Okay, way to go, moron. I'm not gonna... People are mean. We're gonna be mean too. Peace is not achieved through declarations. It's achieved when those who had chosen terror abandon it, and when violence and incitement end, Mr. Mamoun said in a statement. Well, it's up to people, no shit, as always. By recognizing a Palestinian state now, Australia elevates the position of Hamas. No, it doesn't. A group of acknowledges a terrorist organization. No, it doesn't do anything to Hamas. It actually strictly said that Hamas couldn't be part of the government. So, where are you coming from there? Yep. I guess what the Israel are in these pro-Netanyahu people say, everybody who's for a Palestinian state must be Hamas. That's okay. If that's your argument, if that's your argument, you can't lose that argument because you always get a built-in enemy. The opposition has argued now it is not time to recognize Palestine, supporting Israel's view that it would be war with Hamas. I don't think it's a reward. How did Israel get rewarded? They got a whole nation back in the 1950s. By the Soviet Union were the first one to recognize them, of all things. In a statement, opposition leader Susan Ley said the government's unilateral decision put it out of step with Australia's most important ally. Australia's most important ally. And most consequential player in the Middle East, the United States. Yeah, the United States is misguided foreign policy, too. I wouldn't use them as... you got the United States for a friend these days. I feel bad. Until today, it has been a bipartisan of recognizing Palestinian state. It should come at the end of the peace negotiating process, not the start or during it, Ms. Ley said. Anthony Albanese has committed Australia to recognizing Palestine while hostages remain in tunnels under Gaza, with Hamas still in control of the population of Gaza. Okay, they're in control how? Australians all want the war in Gaza to end, ending the war, save lives, to safeguard two-state solution. The clear advice to our most important ally is this decision will not expedite the outcome. Again, it's yes. Okay, I'm just going to cut this short, saying, of course, it's largely symbolic. It's largely symbolic, but the next step is going, hey, why don't we disarm the Palestinians and make it a fair fight?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be the next step? Then what? Then what you guys going to do? Everybody that's got nuclear weapons decides that they want to crush Israel. Then what you going to do?
Yeah.
Make peace. Stop killing each other, morons. We don't like fighting over your little neighborhood dispute. We don't care. We don't live in that neighborhood. The only reason we ever cared about the Middle East because it got oil. Only reason ever. So it's really not our concern. I don't think it is. I mean, but anyway, there's your heavy dose of reality.
To remind everybody who doesn't know the history of anything about Palestine, the reason Hamas is even the government is because there's maybe 10% of the population of Israel is able to vote, right? Most of the population of Palestine. Most of the population of Palestine is under 18. 80% or something. Yeah. The majority of them could not even vote for the current government that is in power right now. And Hamas ran on a argument for getting rid of Israel out of the Gaza Strip. It's because you know what's been happening for the last 70 years? They go in, you go to the shop to buy some milk. You come home, a bunch of Israelis have moved into your house, kicked all your shit onto the floor and said, this is my house now. And that's been happening for 70 years. You can't go outside, you can't leave your house because of huge, literally, what people are scared of from immigrants in European countries and stuff, and in America, was actually happening. A realistic, actually happening. People were moving into your house, saying, this is my house now, and I've registered it with the Israeli government, and they agree with me that this is my house now, and you have no house. Good luck. Or actually, no, fuck you. They don't even say good luck. They start beating you up and saying, don't come back here, or we're going to kill you. And that's been happening since the 70s, right? Since forever.
Right.
And then you're angry that, oh, wow, I wonder why the Gazans voted for a political party that wants to get rid of Israelis out of the Gaza Strip. I wonder why that happened. Maybe because they're invading. They're literally invading the country and taking your house from you.
Not the funniest joke I've ever heard, but hey.
No, but I just wanted to make sure people understand why Hamas was the freaking government. Here is your Australia joke. There's nothing really relevant. There's no jokes that are relevant to this.
Hezbollah.
Yeah. There's no jokes that are relevant at all to this story, so I'm just going to tell you a joke that's Australia related. Here you go. What do you call a famous Australian actress who endlessly gives money to organizations in need?
Oh, it's that lady who married Tom Cruise. What's her name?
Blanchett.
Go ahead. Oh, Kate Blanchett. I'm thinking of the other Australian.
She's got a blank check.
I got it.
I love.
That was a non sequitur joke. All right, we rolled non sequitur joke that time.
All right, no more. My next story.
All right, I sent you a video. Yep.
Okay.
Next story.
Let's roll that segue wheel.
Rolling the wheel.
It's time for you to get your pen and paper out because it's haiku time.
Oh boy. Pen. I knew I forgot.
Can you count today? Today on Monday? My next story is going to be a longer one, and this is about a helicopter crash that happened in 1994, as old as me, that has still not provided any answers to the victim's family. This is Alice Cunningham on BBC News. And also Sarah Lilly, I think, edited. The sister of a man who was killed when an RAF Chinook helicopter crashed in 1994 said he would want her to get the truth of his death. Major Christopher Dockery was one of the 29 people killed when the helicopter crashed in 94. Major Christopher Dockery was 33, whose family lived in Cambridgeshire, was one of the 29 people killed in the crash of the Mule of Kintyre in Scotland on the 2nd of June 1994. His sibling, Nicola Rawcliffe, who lives near Diss in Norfolk, was among a group of campaigners calling for a public inquiry. She is supported by her father, John Dockery, who lives in Suffolk. A spokesperson for the Ministry of Defense said the accident had already been the subject of 6 inquiries and sealed records could not be released due to data protection rules. Oh my god, very convenient. Oh, we can't tell you what happened because it's important. From 1994, 30 years ago, what's still relevant in there? On the day her brother died, Miss Rawcliffe had just returned home from a holiday with her husband, was welcomed with a birthday card from her brother. She said she had not listened to any news that night and went to bed. The next thing I knew was stones being thrown up at the bedroom window in the early hours of 3rd of June because, unbeknown to me, Chris had appointed me as next of kin should my parents be out of the country, she explained. I had the harrowing task of not only receiving the devastating news delivered to me by this army officer at 2 in the morning, but then I also had to telephone my parents and tell them their eldest son had been killed in a Chinook helicopter crash. It was harrowing and incredibly hard. She described her brother as a gregarious chap with a very warm personality and an infectious laugh. The helicopter had been on its way from RAF Aldergrove in Northern Ireland to a conference in Inverness in Scotland. It was traveling through thick fog. It was carrying leading security personnel, all of whom died in the crash. That's suspicious. Initially, the crash was blamed on pilot error, but they were exonerated in 2011. Yes. It wasn't his fault, but we're not going to tell you what happened still. The families of the victims wanted high court judges to review information they said was not considered in previous investigations, and for the government to release documents on the crash that were sealed for 100 years. Oh God, nobody's going to be alive. Nobody of these families is going to be alive to care. In 100 years! However, Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer said on the 8th of August, rejected the calls and said he had been advised by the Minister of Defense that the records offered no insights, and he did not believe a new inquiry would bring a greater certainty or would be in the public's interest. Man, what are they hiding in these files? There's no way, right? If they're not serious, reveal them. No, they are serious, but are data protection, but it's not serious enough. Miss Rawcliffe said it felt like the Prime Minister had slammed the door in our face, and she wanted him to stand up and get the truth. We just want somebody to tell us why the helicopter left the ground, because we have the evidence that shows it was unairworthy. Oh no, they didn't do maintenance on the helicopter. It would help because grief is hard enough. If Christopher was here, he would say, just keep going. You've got to keep going until you find the answer and get the truth. Mr. Dockery, who is now 96, said he was extremely grateful to his daughter for her campaigning. I think it's quite disgusting that it has been allowed to fester as long as it has without getting to the bottom of things, he added. 96! Goodness. Maybe he's gonna die never knowing the truth, sadly, it sounds like. Spokesperson for the MOD said, the Mull of Kintyre crash was a tragic accident, and our thoughts and sympathies remain with the families, friends and colleagues of all those who died. The accident has been the subject of 6 inquiries and investigations, including the independent judge-led review. They reiterated that the sealed record contained personal records and that the release of the information would breach data protection rules. We can't reveal the social security numbers of all the dead, because then people will steal their identity. Whatever, man. Just bullshit.
Oh, wow.
Sounds like bull. It was like, here's a bullshit reason that we can't reveal the truth. We will not be unsealing the records. Talk to us in, I guess, 70 more years when we'll finally unseal them.
Sounds like a military secret.
I'll probably still be alive. No, I won't be alive even. I won't even be alive to find out the truth. I think I'll be 100, exactly. That's 100 sad. In 100 years from 94, and I probably won't be alive either. Sorry, guys. If there's anybody who was born, I guess in 2016, they'll figure out the truth probably. So let me know in my deathbed. That's my story.
Okay, so I got a haiku. The Mull of Kintyre. Not just a McCartney song, Not just a McCartney song, also a crash site. There's your haiku.
I mean, people are probably still going there leaving flowers, huh? 29, what was it again? 29 people killed, including the pilot, everyone, right? Nobody survived. Very suspicious.
Edmund Fitzgerald. Yeah, it must be a military secret or something. Like, hey, it was an assassination.
There was one dude on there that we had to kill, so we killed 28 other people, including the pilot.
Yeah, look at the Watergate. There was a whole entire plane crash in Chicago to kill one person. In Watergate.
Messed up,
That's how bad that scandal was. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And that's why we can't trust anybody because of stuff like that. Next segue is a bad pun for your story.
E. Howard Hunt's wife was killed in that plane crash, and E. Howard Hunt's likely the guy who knows who killed Kennedy or knows the whole conspiracy. So a lot of that's tight. Yeah.
Gotta make sure to
she was killed because she
get that story.
Yeah, she had a big bag of money with her for a payoff. And she was murdered in a plane crash that killed hundreds. Yeah, so the government will do evil shit all the time. And never tell you about it. But the Mull of Kintyre is, again, as soon as I heard that, I said, it's a Paul McCartney song. Well, I started singing it in my head as I was knocking over a microphone stand and everything. And
having a dance party.
Found a pen, knocked over the light and everything. You probably seen it and heard it, but wanted all that noise before I could turn my microphone. I did send you a video.
Yes, you told me that before the story.
Read about. I know, but I forgot from all the confusion. I was just going, oh, I don't have a pen. Where's a pen? Holy shit, a pen.
I have a piece of paper.
Okay. I got an idea in my head, and it's going to leave in a second. So, this is from BBC.com. We've lost an astronaut. Houston, we have a problem, if you know that. The person who uttered it never existed before until Jim Lovell said it on Apollo 13. Astronaut Jim Lovell, who guided Apollo 13 mission safely back to Earth in 1970, has died at the age of 97. He never actually made it to the moon.
Long life.
I can name 4 people that have been to the moon. There's been 12, so I can't do a Thursday 13 on it. But Jim Lovell almost made it, and his crew almost made it.
Didn't we do a list on that already? People who didn't make it to the moon? I don't know. Maybe not.
No, I don't think I would have anything like people that didn't make it to the moon. That's the entire population except for 12 people.
No, I mean people who are astronauts who didn't make it to the moon, I guess. You could do a list of that.
Oh, God. That would be
probably more than 13.
Here's a bunch of people you've never heard of. Yeah. No, I know the names of Neil Armstrong, the first person to walk on the moon. I know the names of Buzz Aldrin, the second person. I know the names of Alan Shepard, who later visited the moon, but he was the first American to achieve orbit. I believe. No, he was the first American going to space, and he just came right back down. But later he went to the moon. And I know Harrison Schmitt, who was the last person to walk. And I only know him because of part of one of his routines. It's like, we know everything about the Kardashians. Do you know who Harrison Schmitt is? Nope. He's one of 12 people to walk on the moon, but we don't know who the hell he is. NASA said he had turned a potential, back to Jim Lovell, who never walked, but he did go around it. NASA said he turned a potential tragedy into success after an attempt to land on the moon was aborted because of an explosion aboard the spacecraft while it was hundreds of miles from Earth. Tens of millions watched on television as Lovell and 2 other astronauts splashed back down in the Pacific Ocean, a moment which has become one of the most iconic in the history of space travel. Lovell, who was also part of the Apollo 8 mission, was the first man to go to the moon twice, but never actually landed. Acting NASA head Sean Duffy, let's just skip over what that idiot has to say. Sean Duffy is a reality TV star that somehow got elected to Congress, and now Trump appointed him as head of the space program. It's like putting a Muppet in charge of science. It's like putting a rat in charge of the cheese. It's just a stupid idea.
A rat would do a better job because rats are smarter than him.
Yeah. Sean Duffy probably has 3 brain cells. In a statement, Lovell's family will miss his unshakable optimism, his sense of humor, and the way he made each of us feel he could do the impossible. Is truly one of a kind. Tom Hanks, who played Lovell in a 1995 movie, Apollo 13, called the astronaut one of those people who dare, who dream, and who lead others to places we would not go on our own. Hank said in a statement on Instagram that Lovell's many voices were not made for riches or celebrity, but because such challenges are what fuels the course of being alive. On Saturday, a 16-year-old... Wait. What the heck is this? What the heck is this? Okay.
He got lost.
We're getting back to his curiosity. Okay, teenage rocket maker. One Saturday, a 16-year-old hauled a heavy 3-foot tube into the middle of a large field in Wisconsin. He persuaded his science teacher to help him make a makeshift rocket. Somehow, he had managed to get his hands on the ingredients for gunpowder, potassium nitrate, sulfur, and charcoal. Probably just got it from a bullet, got it around. I mean, that's what's in there. What do you mean somehow? It's Wisconsin. Everybody's got a gun. Anyway, he pulled a welder's helmet for protection. He packed it with powder, struck a match, and ran like hell. The rocket rose 80 feet into the air and exploded. Had the chemicals been packed slightly differently, he would have been pieces. For Jim Lovell, that was more than a child's lark. In achieving his dream to be a rocket scientist, he would become an American hero, but it was not going to be easy. James Arthur Lovell was born on 25 March 1928, just a year after Charles Lindbergh made his historic trip across the Atlantic. Boys like either dinosaurs or airplanes. He said, I was very much an airplane. When he was 5 years old, his father died in a car accident. His mother, Blanche, worked all hours, struggling to keep food on the table. University was well beyond their financial reach. University. It's so quaint. I love British language. University. The answer was in the U.S. Navy, which was hungry for new pilots after World War II. Me like eating pilots. It was not building rockets, but at least it involved flying. Lovell signed up for a program that sent him to college at the military's expense while training as a fighter pilot. 2 years in, he gambled and switched to Naval Academy at Annapolis on Chesapeake Bay, just right up the road from here, in hope of working in his beloved rockets. It was a lucky decision. A few months later, it was lucky the Korean War broke out. Forget the death and destruction. This is all about luck. Anyway, a few months later, the Korean War broke out, and his former fellow appropriate pilots were sent to the Southeast Asia. Many never got to finish their education. Yeah, dying will do it to you. Marriage was banned at Annapolis, and girlfriends discouraged. Navy didn't want its midshipmen wasting their time on such frivolities, but Lovell
they
had
didn't
a
want
sweetheart.
people being like, sorry, I'm leaving the program because my girlfriend got pregnant or whatever. Something like that.
Oh, and of course, the girls are, here's what the tragedy of this is: there's a lot of money grubbing people out there that want to marry pilots and get their insurance checked when that test pilot crashes, because he was a test pilot. But Lovell had a sweetheart. Marilyn Gerlach was the high school girl he was shyly asked to prom. Women were not allowed on campus, and trips outside were limited to 45 minutes. Somehow the relationship survived. Just hours after graduation, 1952, the newly commissioned ensign Lovell married her. They would be together more than 70 years until Marilyn's death in 2020. Man, 70 years. Boy, maybe he just went deaf. Both of them, right? They just went deaf.
I think some people just get along with each other, and
it's a joke. I'm making a joke of my own. He did everything he could to advertise his love of rocket. His thesis at the Naval Academy was in the unheard of topic of liquid fuel engines. After graduation, he hoped to specialize in pioneering new technology. He was just an astronaut. He was interested in rocket science, and rocket scientists for that matter. But the Navy had other ideas. Lovell was assigned to an aircraft carrier group flying Banshee jets off ships at night. It was white-knuckle, high-wire business fit only for daredevils, but for Lovell it was not enough. In 1958, he applied to NASA. Project Mercury was America's attempt to place a man in orbit on Earth. Jim Lovell was one of the 110 test pilots considered for selection, but temporary liver condition put paid to his chances. That must be a British
He drank
term.
too much?
Yeah, there's a British term I don't understand. It says a temporary liver condition put paid to his chances.
Oh yeah, that's a rare saying. Basically, he had, instead of 100% chance, it was 75, whatever. It lowered his chances.
His liver was not livering up to expectations. In 1962,
wait, that's my thing.
Medical test. NASA announced its new 9. Those would be the men that deliver on President Kennedy's pledge to put America's boots on the moon. It was the most elite group of flying men ever assembled. They included Neil Armstrong, John Young, fulfilling his childhood dream, Jim Lovell. 3 years later, he was ready. His first trip to space was aboard 2-man Gemini 7, Lovell and fellow astronaut Frank Borman. Frank Borman actually started an airline after he was an astronaut, Eastern Airlines. Ate a steak and food breakfast and blasted off. Their mission, to find out if men could survive 2 weeks in space. If not, the moon was going to be out of reach. Yeah, if you die, you ain't coming back. With the endurance record complete, Lovell's next flight was in command of Gemini 12 space rookie Buzz Aldrin. I'm a space rookie. This time they proved that men could walk outside a spacecraft. Aldrin chambered awkwardly in the void, spending 5 hours photographing Starfield. Now for the moon itself. The crew of Apollo 8 would be the first to travel beyond low Earth orbit and enter the gravitational pull of another celestial body. It was NASA's most dangerous mission yet. The Saturn V rocket that shot Lovell, Borman, and William Anders out of their atmosphere 25,000 miles per hour was huge. Wow. 3 times larger than anything seen on the Gemini program. As navigator, Lovell took with him a sextant to take star readings in case the computers failed and they had to find their way home. Using stars, that's got to be interesting. 68 hours after takeoff, they made it. The engines fired in Apollo 8, slid silently behind the moon. These men heard a crackle in their headsets and a radio signal of mission control faltered and then failed. The spellbound astronaut pinned themselves to the windows, the first humans to see a far side of our nearest celestial neighbor, and then from over an advancing horizon, my blurry, an incredible sight. Earthrise, gasped Borman. Get the camera, quick, said Lovell.
Get the camera.
The image of Earth was cat. Yeah, it was Christmas Eve, 1968. America was mired in Vietnam, abroad, and civil unrest at home. But at that moment, it seemed that all the humanity was united. The people of the world saw their planet as the astronauts saw it, and it made no difference. Kept fighting each other because we were all a bunch of morons. Fragile and beautiful, the shining in the desolation of space. Lovell read from the book of Genesis, the basis of many of the world's great religions. Some of them, for sure. Every other religion said, hey, what about us? We're here too. And Lovell instantly divided America by religion by reading from one religion. There you go. Everybody in space. Look at this. We're going to divide this by religion now. Okay. That's what I get from that. I don't see that as uniting at all. But again, if you believe all that crap about, if you believe that, I'm sorry, I'll call it crap. But again, if you believe all that's good. As the spacecraft re-emerged from darkness, Lovell was the first to announce the good news. Please be advised, he said as the radio crackled back into life, there is a Santa Claus! Right on. Read from the book, and then he told everybody there's a Santa Claus. At that very moment, 239,000 miles away, a man in a blue Rolls Royce pulled up outside Lovell's house in Houston. He walked past dozens of reporters camped outside and handed a box to Marilyn. She opened the star pattern tissue paper and pulled out a mint jacket. Happy Christmas, said the card that came with it, and love for the man in the... Oh, so romantic. So Jim Lovell, we're going to get into what happened in Apollo 13. This is a very long article. If you haven't seen the movie, watch it. It's a really good movie. It doesn't spare your feelings. It doesn't even spare the fact that one of the astronauts got his STD before they went on the trip. So Kevin Bacon's character got an STD. Spoiler alert. Houston, we've got a problem. Houston gives it a whole new meaning. Poor Kevin Bacon had an STD. All right, so there's your story about 97-year-old astronaut. 97 is a long haul. considering you're a test pilot.
And also probably radiated, right? By space waves.
Yeah. Jimmy Carter, don't forget, lived to be 100, and he get an almost a lethal dose of radiation when he was a young lieutenant.
Some people are just lucky.
Yeah, maybe it made him live
sounds like
longer.
You have to be lucky to become an astronaut, that's for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, I have two puns, and they relate to each other. Launching ideas into orbit requires a big think. Orbiting task lists often need spacey planning.
Oh, where you laugh?
Your pity laugh, I appreciate it. It's just puns.
On the soundboard.
Yeah, there you go, soundboard. Okay, let's roll our next segue for my culture segment. We're going to talk about RuPaul's Drag Race in France, the All-Star season. I think it just ended, or it's in the middle or something, because we're reviewing it. Hey, I hope this reminds you of a song, because you know what drag queens love to do? Strut to some song, do some lip syncing to some songs. So it's actually really convenient. I don't know if they're going to talk about any of the songs.
There you go. I got 5 songs already. So.
All right, perfect. This is coming off of Euronews Culture by Sarah Mayansoni. In 15 years, RuPaul's Drag Race has brought drag into the mainstream. But has it lost its edge? As the first season of Drag Race France All-Stars continues to delight French audiences, Euronews Culture explores how the franchise is walking a tightrope between entertainment and politics, of course. Because just like being black or being an immigrant, being a drag queen is politicized. So you can't exist without people being like, yeah, but what do you stand for? I'm just a human being, man. I'm just living, okay? I don't stand for anything. I stand for looking hot. That's what I stand for. After 3 publicly acclaimed seasons, some of the most beloved Drag Race France cast members returned to TV screens last month for France's first Stars edition. So for anybody who doesn't watch Drag Race or doesn't know anything about the show, you have seasons, there's people who were so good in that season that they have to bring them back for the All-Stars, hence why it's called All-Stars. I'm glad I could explain that to you. However, audiences were surprised to see that singer and DJ Kitty Smile, who had been a main judge since the show's first season, would not reprise his role. Fans speculated that his past positions against cultural appropriation and in defense of racially oppressed people had made him too political for the publicly broadcast program. Well, maybe. Or maybe he just said nah because he's busy with something else. Also possible. The reasons for Kitty Smile's absence have not been disclosed, and he could well be back in future seasons. But the event exemplified the competing imperatives of a franchise that has brought the art of drag well into mainstream culture while attempting to preserve its deeply political roots. That's right. When you do something like Drag Race, you are, sadly, making a statement. And that statement could be something as simple as, let me wear a dress to, black people deserve rights. I don't know. What a concept. It's all sorts of things that you can... It's a rebellious thing, right? Being a drag queen or a drag king makes you a rebel against normal society, which means you're making a statement. Drag queen RuPaul Charles, weird to say his last name, created RuPaul's Drag Race in 2009 to look for America's next drag superstar. The series resembled classic reality television contests that included challenges, eliminations, and all the drama you could hope for, but with an extra dose of glitter, lavish wigs, and gravity-defying heels. Of course, famously, right, you've got those, camera interviews where it's like, I can't believe she said that, and stuff like that, and I was shocked. The program has since exceeded expectations. The original US version has aired for 17 seasons, and the franchise now includes international declinations in more than 15 countries. That's right, you can see your favorite drag queens in 15 different countries if you happen to live in those 15 different countries. Or should they tell me which countries those are? As well as various spin-offs and events. Drag Race's multimedia empire has revealed prominent artists from Trixie Mattel and Vanessa in the US to Philippines Marina Summers and UK Lawrence Chaney. Iconic drag culture phrases have trickled down from show to Gen Z vernacular. When you say that someone slayed, ate, or is mother, you're speaking drag. That's why I was curious if there was like French drag lingo that we could also add to our lexicon here. For some within the drag and LGBTQ plus communities, this success has also led to the commodification of an originally subversive art. That's right, as things get more commodified, it becomes a little more toned down, right? Oh, if we can get the straights watching, imagine the money we'll make. For French drag queen Emilia Tante, drag race keeps raising the expectation placed on artists. Judges want more, and more fashion and extravagance, she writes in an online queer friction magazine. The queens of the Drag Race franchise have gone into debt in the hope of winning this TV contest. This also leads to higher expectations from the audience. But in real life, doing drag is often financially unstable, and many live performers struggle to get paid for their gigs. Hey, I was on the 5th season of Drag Race. Well, we're not going to pay you that much, so either lower your price or you're out of work. Okay, I guess I'll work for pennies. You didn't win, honey. You didn't win the contest, honey. We're not going to raise your price.
Yeah.
But people know who I am now because I was on the 5th season. Whatever. Drag Race's spotlight then becomes precious, but a rare opportunity.
You can just be a person with a job.
Yeah, exactly. Sadly. I still need a little more visibility to succeed in my projects. Drag queen Magnetica, I apologize for not knowing everyone's name, shared as she was facing elimination in the first round of the current Drag Race France All-Star season. Drag has been girdled with logic of competitive individualism and the free market. Researchers Zena Feldman and Jamie Hakim wrote in a 2020 analysis. I love how somebody did an analysis of the economy of drag. That's amazing. They argued that the show's mainstreaming of the art perpetrates a culture that positions drag as an economic vehicle rather than a means of mocking, curing, or dismantling dominant power structures. Yeah, like similar to singing, right? Instead of singing being art, oh wow, she sings so good, it becomes a whole commodification, right? Do you look good? Do you dance good? Do you sing good? Can you put on a good show? All of these things you have to add in order to be successful. You can't just sing well. That's not enough anymore. Same thing with drag, right? Okay, sure, you can dance. Booty. You can dance, but your lip sync sucks, and your outfits are really bland and boring and simplistic, so you're not going to be a big drag star, right? You need to add 15 different layers. And you need to shave your back, please. Yeah, exactly. You need to be different from the freaking next drag queen across the street. The contest has often been accused of promoting a specific vision of drag as well, especially due to exclusion of drag kings. That's right. RuPaul has come under fire in the show's earlier season for his reluctance to include post-transition trans women as well. Wow. Controversial. Multiple transgender non-binary contestants have since competed in the program, however. I mean, they freaking had Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga was on the show competing. Well, I don't know if she was competing, but she was there. I remember that part. She's just a woman, right? She's not a man dressing up as a woman. She's just another woman. Who is she bisexual even? No. The whole joke. Well, who cares about what she is? It doesn't matter. I know what you're saying. You shouldn't be required to be a gay man or a man in order to do drag. That's the argument here, right? If you want to dress up flamboyantly, just do it. You should be allowed to be on the freaking Drag Race show. Yeah. Drag Race. Dressing up as something you're not is dressing in drag, period. That's just what it is. Yeah. I'm not an overly flamboyant woman who's wearing, false lenses. So false lashes. If I did that, I would be dragging too. Because I never wear false lashes. I think they're dumb. But for drag, it makes sense. Okay, you're supposed to be way more flamboyantly expressive than... if it was just men dressing as women, it would look normal, right? They would look like me at the end, right? That wouldn't be fun. You have to be more stuff, more things, glitter everywhere. Drag's inherent political nature is at the heart of drag relationship with its viewers. Some consider that the show is too politicized, others not enough. And then we've got a bunch of tweets, which here on Before Coffee, we are not into tweeting journalism, so we're just going to avoid those, but just assume it's people who have takes, and there's takes that you don't agree with, That's what Twitter is. I don't agree with what that one person said, and this is an epidemic of the entire thing. No, it's just one guy's opinion, not the entire thing. For former judge Kitty Smile, drag is not an aesthetic, but an art form that embodies queer history. You know what? I kind of agree with that, and that's why I would never be a drag queen, because I cannot do any of that stuff. There is an art to it. How you apply your makeup, how you wear your lips, how you can sculpt your entire face using freaking glue. Impressive stuff, okay? For instance, drag queens are central characters in the 1969 Stonewall riots, and since then they have kept on fighting for rights and help create safe spaces for marginalized groups. Drag subverts gender norms, Kitty Smile said in an Instagram post. In communities where their norms are strongly valued, the mere presence of drag queen becomes a gentle but extremely radical act of confrontation. Today, Drag Race is possibly the most widespread and popular expression of drag culture. The show is broadcast on public networks in several countries. That's right, you don't even have to buy a channel to watch it, including France, Belgium, and the UK. It entertains audiences, but also tackles the questions like mental health, HIV, and conversion therapy. Drag Race contestants also raise awareness of issues off-screen, with the show's US star slamming convicted felon Trump's two genders policy. Several cast members also criticized UK Supreme Court in April, which of course defined the term woman. For those directly involved, the Drag Race franchise remains a political space where, according to three-time participant So Demuse, we are woke, we will stay woke, and we are proud of it. Yeah, don't go to sleep, people. Stop trying to sleep. Stay up. Wake up. Open your brains. Anyways, that is my culture segment on Drag Race in France, and also in general the show and how it's changed society for good or better. That's your opinion. I think for better, because I don't like people telling me what to do and what I'm allowed to do just because I was born with XX chromosomes. I really hate that, right? It's the same shit. It's like, oh, you can't do that. You're a girl. Why? What does being a girl or a woman have to do with it? Very confusing. And also, famously, since we're talking about France, right? Men were wearing dresses in frickin' 1600s, 1500s, 1400s. No one gave a shit. Now it's a big deal.
Shakespearean actors had to play the female part.
Yeah, exactly.
There was no actresses.
Famously, there was no... Women weren't allowed to be actors for some reason. I don't know why. So all the men were dragged up. Yep, all the men were dragged up. Well, Juliet and Romeo, those are two men kissing. Give me your, what was your thing again? Reminds you of a song.
Reminds me of a song right away was, of course, well, you know this song. That dude looks like a lady. That's Aerosmith.
Aerosmith, yeah.
I just, and of course, but I just was, because the story was going a little long, I'd say, hey, maybe there's some other songs about, because I know, J. Edgar Hoover was, right?
Yeah.
Started the FBI. Basically, he was the FBI until he died.
And he's a pretty evil guy.
A famous cross-dresser. And there's two songs. And I was going to say, if there isn't any songs, maybe I'll write one. There's two songs. One's called When J. Edgar Hoover Wore a Dress by Bob Pyle. And J. Edgar Hoover in a Dress by Yuri Kane. So I haven't heard those, but I will check them out and see if they're any good. There you go.
Yeah.
You can
and the more we don't shame people for having hobbies, the more no one's going to care, right? I don't care if you want to dress
and just
like a woman
everybody,
or a man, or you are a man and a woman. I don't care about this. And nobody else should care.
And just to remind everybody, J. Edgar Hoover, why this is funny and humorous, is J. Edgar Hoover was all up in everybody's business. Everybody, the president, Martin Luther King, everybody, so he could blackmail them. Yeah.
And then he's out here dressed being a drag queen. Yeah. Typical.
J. Edgar Hoover, the most powerful person in Washington, D.C. for about 40 years. Because he could blackmail people. All right.
Okay. And also, good morning, Phoenix. Thank you for stopping by. We're just talking about drag queens. So, I guess we're finished. And now we're going to go into this day in history. Let's roll the segue wheel.
Right here.
Hey, I also have to be reminded of a song. At least 3 songs is what I'm going to go for, because there's a lot of things in this day in history. So.
Let's see if I can read it without my glasses. You probably can. So here we go. All right, you're going to get a reflection. Sorry, everybody. I got my non-reflective glasses. I left them at the store.
Yeah,
I forgot the shop.
You know how they do that?
Okay, it's
they
August
pop
11th.
the lenses out. Non-reflective glasses.
No, I can't read. Then I can't read. In 1919, the Weimar Constitution was formally declared, establishing Germany as a republic. Okay, not exactly
Congratulations
sure what that
to German independence or something from the Holy Roman Empire.
Now, yeah, 1921, Alex Haley was born in Ithaca, New York. He was African-American writer, best known for the autobiography of Malcolm X and Roots, the saga of American family.
And everyone should watch Roots. Every single person.
And you know who Kunta Kinte is because of Alex Haley. Yeah? Roots, my favorite part about Roots was it was a TV show, I think it was 9 parts. And every slave holder on that every white slave owner, mean-ass slaveholder, was a television dad. Like every single one of them. Like
really?
Mike Brady was in it as a slaveholder. Ed Asner was in it as a slaveholder. No, Ed Asner wasn't a TV dad. They had, from all networks, by the way, Tom Bosley, the dad on Happy Days, slave owner. Every identifiable white leading man was under a TV contract and yeah, that's right. White people own slaves, and we're going to tell accurate history. Of course, couldn't do that nowadays. Be like, well, slaves are really a jobs program. That's what it was. They were just teaching them skills they're going to need in a real, Yeah, right. Anyway, back to this day in history. 1924, the first newsreel of U.S. presidential candidate, which included footage of Calvin Coolidge, John W. Davis, and Robert La Follette was filmed. Robert La Follette of Wisconsin formed a progressive party in Wisconsin. He was a great actual government guy. He was pretty cool. Never held a lot of high offices. Ran for president. Almost had a chance. 1929, in the game against the Cleveland Indians, Babe Ruth career home run became the first baseball player to reach a milestone. 1942, American actress Hedy Lamarr and composer George Antheil received a patent for an electronic device that minimized the jamming of radio signals. It later became the component of satellite and cellular phone technology. It's known as frequency hopping. How do you prevent your radio signal from jammed? Well, you stay in the same frequency, right? If you don't stay in the same frequency, they can't jam that. You're on that frequency for 5 seconds, you skip to another frequency for 5 seconds, skip to another one for 5 seconds. And you can also change the interval to 2 seconds, to 3 seconds. And the only people that can hear you transmit, encrypted, the only people who can hear you transmit are the people who are changing frequencies at the same rate as you. And that frequency can't be jammed because it's never the same. This is how your cell phones work now.
Woohoo! Thanks for the radio lesson from, of course, his
genius of
40
Hedy
years
Lamarr
of knowledge.
and George Antheil. I always feel like George gets a short shrift in this because his name's on the patent too. George
Really?
Antheil also.
Typical.
And Hedy Lamarr, a famous actress. 1964, the Beatles' first feature film, A Hard Day's Night, had its first premiere in New York City, released during the height of Beatlemania, is now widely considered a classic. 1965, race riots erupted in Watts District in Los Angeles, resulting in the deaths of 34 people. 1973, a back-to-school party in the Bronx, New York. DJ Kool Herc, Clive Campbell, introduced the technique of playing the same album on 2 turntables and extending the drum section, which became widely known as the backbeat. The night is widely recognized as the birth of hip-hop. Wiki. That's what I say. Wiki. I used to do that as a kid, trying to play. When I was a kid, you could play your albums backwards. Devil.
Yeah.
So I was doing that when I was, you take the belt off the turntable, right? And you just spin it backwards and, the sound's still going.
And then that's when they were like, they're talking about Satan and freaking this rock album.
That's right.
I put it backwards. Look.
It's a pen, but you get a pencil with an eraser on you, and you spin the metal, and you play it backwards, and it says, kill the neighborhood, eat your dog. And you just go and do this stuff, because devil told you.
Yeah, exactly.
And, yeah, right. And again, He is our master, and we must obey him. This is all sarcasm, by the way. Just don't take me literally. I know what people are. Oh my God! 1984 at the Olympic Games in Los Angeles, Carl Lewis became the third track and field athlete to win 4 gold medals in the Olympics. The first 2 were Alvin Kreislein and Jesse Owens. 1994, the Major League Baseball Association began its labor strike following the games of August 11th, and the dispute eventually led to the cancellation of the remainder of the season, including the World Series. I stopped watching baseball for about 10 years. I was like, fuck, they don't care. I don't care either. It's not that they don't care. Yeah, they cared so much that they canceled they cut off their own arms. The players did not win that strike, by the way. Even though they're making millions and millions and millions, the owners are cramping them down. 2014, American comedian and actor Robin Williams died of apparent suicide. He was known for his manic stand-up routines and diverse film performances. So, Robin Williams checked out on today, 11 years ago. Not sure why, but a lot of people who are
funny.
He was
bipolar and he was depressed. And sometimes you just hit the lowest of the lows depression. And they want to end it all because your brain hates you.
And doctor medication prescription probably played a part in it because let's chemical our way out of it, everybody. American painter Jackson Pollock also died in this day, 1956, in an automobile accident. Maybe I'll make a list of famous people who died in an automobile accident. He was an abstract expressionist who received great fame for a series of recognition for his radical poured or drip technique. So he died this day in 1956. He just drip paint off over the giant canvas and died in a car accident. Our featured biography is Pervez Musharraf, the Pakistani president, born August 11, 1943 in Delhi, India, and died February 5th, 2023 in the United Arab Emirates in Dubai at the age of 79. Remembering him. Jerry Falwell's birthday, American minister who would go out every time there was a hurricane or some major disaster and say that gay people caused it somehow. So that idiot's birthday, he'd be 92. His son, of course, they founded, Lynchburg, Virginia, the Liberty University, where his son, whatever you want to do in your private life, Jerry Falwell Jr., but if you're having a threesome with your wife and a pool boy, don't tell other people how to live. How about that? Anyway, 1943, Pervez Musharraf birthday. Steve Wozniak, founder of Apple, co-founder of Wozniak. You've worked for him, right? 1950, so happy birthday to him. He's turning 75? What is that, 75? 75, happy birthday. 75, wow, man. David Brooks turning 64, American journalist and commentator. Used to be a conservative, now he's like, what the hell happened to my party? 1965, Viola Davis birthday. So she's turning 60. I can't do math anymore. She's turning 60 today. And what national day is it besides playing in the sand? It's Raspberry Bomb Day, B-O-M-B. It looks like a gelatin type dessert. Looks good. National Sons and Daughters Days. Let's just call it National Everybody Day, because I don't know.
If anybody is born out of a test tube, please comment down below. Otherwise, yeah.
Yeah, you were born either a son or a daughter. Nobody's birth announcement ever said, we're not quite sure. Nobody ever sent one of those out. Right?
We're not sure if it's human, but it's definitely going to be born, okay?
Yeah. What you identify as now is irrelevant to what the birth announcement by your parents said. They didn't have an alternate, okay? So don't blame them. All right, National Presidential Joke Day, and we have a joke for a president, so it's very serious. It writes itself. And Kinetic Sand Day, Global Kinetic Sand Day. It's also Play in the Sand. So the reason it's those two things at the same time, I don't know. But it's those two things. I guess I could click on it, but then I always get no. Let me see this thing. Play. Anyway, those are your days, your mispronunciations, everything else, your plays in the sand, your everything for Monday, August 11th, as I wind down praying here. And my vision gets blurrier and blurrier. On August 11th, 2025, as I scroll past everything I was just reading, National Raspberry Bomb.
I love raspberries.
Before Raspberry Bomb. Yeah, Raspberry Bomb. It looks
okay, I've got some songs for you.
Terrible.
One of them's really easy, of course. It's been a hard day's night, and I've been working like a dog. Okay, I can't sing it anymore because we'll get copyright striked by the Beatles. I have a weird song that reminds me of a song. I looked up songs that talk about Jackson Pollock. Okay? This is a song by Patti Smith, famous punk person, right? Okay? And the name of the song is Rock and Roll Nathan. It's actually the N-word, but we're not going to be saying the N-word ever on this channel. And the chorus goes, Jimi Hendrix was a Nathan. Jesus Christ and Grandma too. Jackson Pollock was a Nathan. Nathan, 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 Nathan.
All right.
Didn't know. Very punk, right? Hey. It was a punk song, right? So you guys are let's not erase people's skin tone, because that's what happens, right? They whiteize Jesus, and he's accepted now because he's not brown. Whatever. And then my final song that reminds me of a song is You'll Be in My Heart. Oh, you'll be in my heart. And it's, of course, a song by Phil Collins about his unconditional love for his child, no matter what. Which is perfect for Sons and Daughter Day. Oh, I'm getting tearful. I didn't know that's what it's about, but technically makes sense. It was in Tarzan, which is when, Tarzan gets adopted by the gorilla. So it makes sense now that that's what it's about. You don't connect these things when you're a child.
Way to go, Phil.
Thanks, Phil, for making me get teared up.
Phil didn't check his emotions at the door.
It's also for our international UN observances. It's World Steel Pan Day. That's right. Everyone's favorite instrument to dance to. I swear. I don't know if there's another one, but steel pan, definitely. Of course, we got to celebrate. Very popular, of course, in Trinidad and Tobago, as well as all other places in the Caribbean.
Oh, yeah.
Some musicians use 4 pan sticks, holding 2 in each hand. And some people just play with sticks and rubber. All different ways to play a steel pan and different ways to dance to steel pan. So celebrate steel pan as an instrument. Maybe go learn. Go to a little workshop, steel pan workshop today. And that's it. That's the end of our Mucking Fonday. I hope you're a little bit more awake. You learned some stuff that's going on. I know there's an ad break happening, but I ran out of snoozes. So we will see you tomorrow for our Good Tuesday News Day, in which we will tell you about all the good news you need to hear about since last Tuesday. I've already got 2 stories already, just some good news, and I'm sure we'll have even more. So make sure you're following or subscribed. Turn on the notifications so you know when we go live or post a video. And here is our mic drop moment. Hedy Lamarr.
Yep. Hedy Lamarr.
Not related to Kendrick Lamar. Or maybe related to Kendrick Lamar. That'd be pretty impressive. Has Kendrick been a Nepo baby this whole time? His great-great-aunt, Hedy Lamarr?
How about Headley? Don't forget Headley Lamarr, Blazing Saddles.
She's so beautiful. In a very genetic white woman way.
And she was in nude movies back in the 30s before they had the blue.
Ooh, look at her. She's straight edge, as you say it. She was scientifically inclined. Did you know she knew how biology worked? Ain't that the truth?
Science work.
We're still stuck in the Hollywood system of beauty over intelligence. As a group, American men seem to be interested in only 2 things: money and breasts. Seems very narrow, Atwood.
How much are those boobies in the window?
Ooh, what did she do with Howard Hughes?
Ooh,
wow, see, there she goes. She was an aeronaut. She was an aero engineer because she knows how fish and birds work.
Don't you worry, pretty little head about
That's
how
right. She
radio.
did more than just act on camera. She did a lot of other things. Well, I'm not going to give Hedy Lamarr a bonus for that, but I guess there you go.
Gotta win a war with something. Hey, if your torpedoes radio signals are being jammed, they'll redirect it to crash your torpedo.
That is true. You could kill more people.
Yeah. You launch a torpedo, it comes right back at you. That's pretty scary.
That is pretty scary.
Yeah.
Oh wow, really?
The Navy tried to rip her off too. Don't forget that.
Of course, yeah. Don't forget, in the history of reality, a lot of women are ripped off. Oh no, she didn't come up with that. Dave told me about that. She wasn't okay. Yeah, Dave heard it from her, asshole.
Oh no, her name was on the patent for sure. It was on the patent.
I hope so.
Yeah. If you didn't file a patent, you didn't get any credit.
Oh yeah, of course. Nobody knew she did it until she was on her deathbed. At least she was alive. There's plenty of women who are never given credit until 30 years after they've died. Yeah, I guess go watch the documentary Bombshell.
Yeah, that's really good.
It's about goddamn time.
And Mel Brooks was always in love with Betty. That's why he used her name, tried to get her name back in Hollywood's lips again because...
Yeah, that's right. Don't let anybody keep you down. Do the best you got.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.